Got my phone on D&D. Stepping in my lane, ready for.
Hey, and what's up? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be doing an introduction to FL, the DAW, why you should use it, which edition should you use, and how to get started. So let's go ahead and hop right in. Alright, so first we're going to jump into which edition should you choose of FL Studio. The most common chosen one would be the producer edition, and that's the second tier, and I do recommend that if you're just starting out, as there's quite a few plugins there, enough to get you going if you are looking to produce music or create music, sing, record, and it's going to have a lot more available than the first entry, which is the Fruity plugin. So we're going to go over all the plugins and which one is going to be best for you and what's really the differences. So first of all, the differences will definitely be in price. Alright, so the main difference between the first level and the producer level, and this is why I recommend you get the second tier. The first level, it doesn't have unlimited audio clips. It only includes 8, whereas any other tier is going to be unlimited. So that's going to be the first difference. Second difference is the audio editors. Again, there are none on the Fruity level, whereas the other levels have 2, 3, and 3. And then the rest goes for the same things with stem separation, more instruments and effects, audio recording. So the biggest thing, if you are going to be recording your own voice or audio in any sense, you do need to purchase the producer edition and up. Playlist features, effects, MIDI support, and scripting. That's the only thing here, these last 3, that you're going to get across the board. So if we dive in a little bit deeper, it's going to show us exactly what instruments. So I do recommend, if you know specifically what type of instruments you are going to be using or creating your own samples of on the FL DAW, then to kind of go from there as well. But again, if you're going to be recording any instruments, audio of any type, you're going to need to get the second tier, which is the producer tier and up. So this is the current version I have. Now, if you have any questions as well about the DAW or the edition you want as well, you can always reach out to help or shop here. So there you go. This is going to include more stuff, right? Like the FL Cloud, which is the new option they have so that you can use it anywhere. Okay, there we go. So we found the prices. So $129. Now keep in mind, depending where you are in the country, this may vary. Canadian is the prices that are being shown here. So the second tier, $239. And then going up from there, it would cost an additional amount from the $239. Okay, y'all, so let's hop right into it. Now that you've decided which program you want to purchase and you've purchased the program, if you're unsure as well, I'm pretty sure the FL Studio does have a free trial, as do most DAWs. So if you're undecided, you can always try out between a few different ones before you decide. Now, if you've decided to go with FL and you're watching this video, we're going to run you through some basics real quick so I can get you caught up to speed on what you need to do. So to start, these here are the track lines. It is very important to put different instruments or different samples or different audio vocals you've created through these different tracks. And the main key being that when you are exporting your track and you're finished the song, if you're doing any type of collaborations, this allows someone else to be able to work with things different individually. And if not as well, it makes it easier for you guys in the long run. So say, for example, you want to export your hi-hat so you have the most clear audio. By doing this, you're going to be able to just export that single line alone, and then you can actually have a sample. So we will get to that after. Now, say for example, you want to turn off a specific one because you're trying to figure out where to drown out the sound. So I've kind of set this up here to show you how it would start. So for example, you want to turn off the kicks and stick to the kick pattern that I've created. You're just going to click it there. Now notice how when I turn it off, you're not going to hear the audio from that sub channel. Okay, so it literally allows you to single out sounds to figure out what's working and what's not working in your mix as well. Now in specific here, these are hi-hats. These hi-hats have been added through me going to view channel rack and turning them on. You can use this as a way to create patterns for your sounds, and you can also put them in individually. So we'll start like this and click the pattern just to show you. And you can sound if it sounds good, if it sounds off. In this case, we're gonna just do one snare there. Okay. Here comes to the hi-hats. You might want to have all the hi-hats on as well, depending what kind of music you're making. We're going for a rap beat. Now I've left it in 140. This is standard BPM, but you can change the BPM yourself, and this will re-stretch all your channels. So say I want to bring it down to slow the speed. If you go double, it's not going to affect the channel stretch, but if you change it, it may affect your channels and the sound will change. If you want to know how to just change the name, right click, rename and color. This allows you to change that up in order to have a little more variety when you're working with it as well. You can change the name, you can change the pattern name, you can change the channels and the track names. So I've created this serum synth here for us to start with. Okay, so in specific, I'm going to add some more hi-hats just to show you the uniqueness of when you create these separately. Pardon my computer freezing. Okay, so you're going to pause it. Now with the new FL Studio update as well, if you're using the 2024 version, there are quite a few modifications that you can do, like overlapping of sounds. This will definitely be a video for another day, but notice how I put the two kicks there together, and it allows you to actually blend them quite nicely or uniquely as well. Just like that. Okay, so we're going to check out the main things you need to go over when you're starting. File, new, basic, open with limiter. That's going to be starting a new one. If you need some type of template, you can do a template as well. This will include certain things for someone that's new that needs to figure out how to have a limiter on there, how to have a delay and reverb, and for others view club basic. So that's actually going to come with basic drum pattern laid out for you. Next, we're going to do edit. So plugins, all your plugins that were included with the program are going to be listed here. Not any ones that you've purchased outside of FL. So like your VSTs and stuff like that for your DAW, that's all going to be found in options, manage plugins. And you're going to need to learn how to use that in order to bring in new plugins as well. Say you've purchased or downloaded one. MIDI settings and audio settings are going to be your life-saving best friends, and of course general settings. If you find anything isn't sounding right or isn't working, 9 times out of 10 you can find your own solution by just looking through this. And if you've changed your audio settings to the point where you can't hear anything or understand anything, you can always revert those settings back to the original settings as well, and I believe that's in your general settings here. So notice how there's quite a few different settings. This is going to be your themes as well. So you can actually pick your theme if you want to switch it up, change it around, different colors here. And there are some that are included, or you can also find ones to download that are free with FL Studio as well. So your info here, about. All right, so here we are. So next we're going to show you what the channel rack is. Channel rack here, this is where you can add your samples individually, your kicks, your drums, your snares to create a pattern on its own. So this is the one I currently have. But notice how since the kick isn't already, it's going to come up as a pattern. Now with this, it's kind of cool. This allows you to create some variety with your drums. And I always recommend working in sets of 4, 8, or 16 patterns. And definitely sticking to the same pattern depending on what you're using, but that's producer tips for another day. So let's get into more of the basics, right? Now, if you want to isolate a specific area just to work on it, you right click and you're going to highlight here. This is going to allow that specific part just to play over and over again. I find this can be really handy if you're hearing something that sounds off in a particular spot. It allows you to be able to recreate it and just listen to it over and over until you can find what you want to change. In order to get rid of it, you just right click and go back to normal. Like I said, the cool thing about FL is there's so many different ways you can produce. It's just really up to you finding your own way, what works for you. So next we'll go over the channel rack here. It's very important to send all your sounds to this specific channel rack so that you are able to work on something. So we're going to work on this synth here. So far I've got sound godizer added to it. Now, if you go to pattern as well, it's going to isolate everything except for what you're wanting to listen to. Now, this sound godizer is really cool. You can affect which sound you want it to come out. So we're going to check out C here. Beauty, parametric EQ as well is something you're going to want to use on every channel. And we want a bass drum punch. Next, you're going to want to add a fruity parametric EQ to as well. And do a 40 and 18 ounce cut. Now listen to how much crispier that synth sounds. It just came alive. So let's listen to the difference. Let's turn off everything. Listen to it before. Sounds okay. Okay. A little quieter, a little less punchy in the song. Now let's listen to it with just 3 basic things I've added. I think it speaks for itself, right? And these are just basic things you can do to improve your overall sound quality. Now hi-hats, we've got one here, has nothing added. We're going to do the same. If you want it to use the same exact channel settings that you're using for a different one, you can always subchain it by creating a bus. So instead of connecting to the main mixer, we're going to go like that and click it to there. And if you find your kicks almost sounding too loud at that point, you can add an additional EQ for just your kick or your hi-hat. Sounding a little too punchy with the chain. We're gonna throw it back there. And if you find you need some separation in the vocals or the tracks, you can always right click to differentiate. One of my favorite tools to teach you guys. It's the paintbrush here. If you're like me, someone who automatically just naturally likes to put them on all individually for more uniqueness, this is awesome because this allows you to actually produce faster. Look at that. So boom, that just dropped all those hi-hats in. Say you want to take this pattern and you want to repeat it as well. This is another thing to show you. You're going to click this. Hold down shift. We're gonna just take the hi-hats here and say the drums. Control copy, Control V to paste. Now you're gonna wanna click back on that paintbrush though, and notice how it's still highlighted. So then you're gonna click and you're just gonna move everything directly over and look at how it's gonna repeat it right out for you. Beautiful. So now let's try this. And this just helps too. It's really good for helping you move or work a little bit faster. Now notice how there's a little bit that needs to be worked on in here. Master volume is going to be your number one thing. You're going to automatically want to have sound goodizer on there and also parametric EQ. This is going to take out that noise that you can hear between the synths being too loud mixed with the drums all going off at the same time. Another great tool to use, which is included in most when you do start, will be the peak controller. This allows for you not to go overboard. So you can turn down the volume here, the bass, the LFO bass, and the speed as well. So let's try. Much better. Hear the difference automatically by adding those two. Presets, so 3 bands. You can also change this depending on how punchy you want it or how you find that the frequency's hitting. So notice how I just removed all that choppiness from it by just bringing it as close to the notes as possible. Amazing. So here we go. We've got a basic beat started. We've got a few things we've gone over with you guys. A couple other buttons I wanted to show you. This here is the metronome. If you find you're having a hard time with beat making, being on time with the beats, great thing to use to get you started because it's going to give you that noise there. So you're going to know if your beat is on cue. Now this is a good one as well. This can change over. You're going to want to have it from seconds to milliseconds so you can tell how long it is, but you can also do it this way as well. All right, and next we've got the multi-link to controllers, editing mode, scrolls to rate marker. A lot of these I don't use. Save button for sure. Piano roll is going to be one of your favorites as well. So that's where you're creating those punchy kicks like you see about a pattern. This allows you to create a little more variety. Beautiful. So right there, we're going to listen to that. All right. And also too, you can elongate your drums as well. So metronome's going to really be one of your best friends if you're brand new to producing or using FL or any music theory. That's going to really give you that time pattern to make sure that your notes are hitting on time. And also as well for adding audio clips after. Listen to the punchiness of that drums. If you want a variety, the drums a little more, that'll turn up the volume and create inconsistency in the drums. Beautiful. So next we've got this pattern going in. This is here. Amazing. Again, too, you're going to find your browser here. This is going to have a lot of options for you guys when it comes to finding things that are included in FL. Different plugins as well you can explore here. You're going to be able to see your VSTs that you've purchased, installed, or bought, and the ones that are also just included with the program. There's quite a few that come with the program to get you started. So final thing you're going to want to do as well, plugin database here, effects in use. If you ever need to undo something, you've made a mistake, there is an undo button. Undo. Okay, cut, copy as well. Those are going to be things you're going to use all the time. So one other thing I wanted to show y'all, if you've made it this far and you are recording your own audio, I've added my producer tag in there, which was previously recorded. So in order to trim things as well, say you don't like the sample, you've got a lot of negative space, you're just going to highlight that with the trim, the cut button here, and then right click and delete that. Now we are going to send this particularly
in the cards
to a channel. Since it's 7, I like to keep all the audio for the most part on the same channels unless you're doing different effects per audio. So we're going to just manually add that there to 7. Now notice too on the sample, look how many different things you've got as an option here as well. You can change the pitch, you can change the time, you can change to make it normal. This is going to increase the volume. Biggest thing you're going to want to use is either boost or IQ though, unless you find that your audio constantly ranges. If you are creating music, do not put normalize on, but if you aren't creating music and you're using this for different audio clips or podcasts, however it may resonate, you're going to want to use normalize to make sure that that audio is one consistent level. All right, so we've got this on here. We're going to go to channel 7, which is where I've added it. So first we're going to add the handy dandy sound godizer. Next, because I want this to have a little bit of a delay on there, we're going to do reverb.
in the cards.
Listen to that effect. If you want to drown out some of the reverb, turn down the wetness here.
In the cards.
That's going to give it that more effect. Awesome. So now to start. Since I have my own hi-hats added, we're just going to remove that there.
In the cards, baby.
If you ever want to go in, you can use num lock up and down as well to come in and out of the program. Now the biggest thing with trimming as well, you want to make sure that it's not off. So you're going to click that little magnet there and make sure it's to the line or to the cell or to the step. If there is none on, this will actually allow you to go as close as possible and to make it a trim that may not be specific on a spot that is connected at a line. So this is really handy for audio. Say you want to get as close as you can, so there's no outside noise or any blank noise in between. This is your best friend. And also too, if you're doing one long take of audio, sometimes you're going to have things come in between. So in order to do that, you can literally trim it just like that without being on the line.
In the cold.
And notice how there
Baby.
isn't that extra. So yeah, that leaves us with everything to get you started on FL today, and a little bit of tips if you are a producer or looking how to learn. I really hope this video could resonate for you guys. Go ahead and like the video, subscribe, and comment if you want to see more music tips and tricks from In the Cold herself. And go ahead and check me out. My music is available on Apple Music, Spotify, and here on YouTube. So thanks for watching, and until next time, take care, and remember, producing is about creativity and having a good time. So if you find you're getting frustrated, make sure you take the time to watch any necessary production videos, little tutorials like this one on YouTube, and I will make sure to include more for you guys to watch. Bye!